while that I've been wanting to do this shuffler. And that's gonna start next week. We'll get to the details on it. If you already read this slide, cool. I'm not reading this. In fact, we're not gonna talk about this ever again. So, we'll go straight to the point on this. How it's gonna work is, I mean, you know how the shuffler is, you've seen it before, but the games are played through a script on the BizHawk emulator. And I'm going to set a timer so that every 5.5 to 11 minutes, the shuffler is going to randomly swap to another active game. These are the range of times that I've used in the past, and I actually really like it. It's kind of short, but not too long. It's a good balance. I just enjoy it. So there's going to be 15 games in the shuffler, initially selected from the list that everybody voted on, and then 5 games that were selected from people's write-in suggestions. So we're gonna have 20 games on the shuffler initially, except games that ranked in at 12 to slot 16 were all tied. So instead of kicking one of those games out, I'm gonna throw a bonus game in right away, because I didn't really feel like just trying to decide between which game do I keep in, which game do I not keep in, so all of those games are in. We're going to have 16 games. We're going to actually have 21 to start this. Is there the option to add more games? Yes. The remaining games are going to be thrown onto a wheel, which is already set up. Once a game is completed, the wheel will spin and another game will take its place. And the write-in games that don't get selected initially are also going to be part of that wheel, and they will take priority. I'll just have like an extra instance of them or something on the wheel, because you guys are the ones taking the time out to suggest games for me, so should definitely give that some priority. There's another way that games can be added, though, sort of as like a channel incentive, directly through support to the channel. And how that would work, I didn't really know what numbers to come up with on this, and I don't expect this of anybody. There's going to be more than enough games to go through anyway. But pretty standard, I think. 500 bits or a $5 tip will grant an immediate wheel spin to add something into the shuffler. A $10 tip or a cheer, though, will skip the spin, and you just get to flat out pick, so it's not up to chance at that point. And then every 5 cumulative gifted subs will also result in a wheel spin. The hardest part for me is going to be remembering all of this. And if for some reason that there's people that want to do a little bit more, because every now and then that just happens, then there's an extra parameter here. $20 tip, or a 2000-bit cheer, or just an immediate 5-pack from one individual person. You can pretty much do whatever you want. You can create the most custom settings for me for a certain rando. There's gonna be certain restrictions on this. There's certain games that I will not play. We'll talk about it, of course, but it's gonna be pretty lenient. So some neat things that I noticed in the voting process is that there are 7 games that each receive 2 votes, 3 votes, and 6 votes. You could well imagine that the 2 votes and 3 vote games are not getting in, but I just found it interesting the way that the spread worked on the voting, that there were so many games that received 2 and 3 votes. In fact, the top 2 games received 8 votes and 2 games received 7, and the highest number of votes that a game received was 8. So there's only 2 for each of those. So, as I say here, no games that receive less than 5 votes are making the initial cut. And for the sake of suspense and my own surprise, I did not expect this, that not a single Pokemon game is in the initial cut. I thought at least one would have made it in, because they're pretty fun randos to watch. I think so, anyway. And one game received 0 votes, and that would be Vanilla Earthbound. There were certain games in the list that I gave the option for to be a rando or vanilla. Earthbound I specifically put in as a rando and vanilla because I haven't played the vanilla game in a long time, and I love it. Apparently nobody else does, but that's quite alright. So excluding the write-in games, we're going to start this with 1 Game Boy Color game, 2 NES, 2 Game Boy Advance, 5 N64 and 6 SNES games. Not really a surprise that N64 and SNES are up at the top. So, let's get to it. Coming in with 8 votes, we have Super Mario Bros. 3 Rando. Pretty standard. Good old platformer. It's a fantastic rando. I'm not amazing at it, so it's not going to be super quick. But if it happens to go really, really well, maybe I'll throw a second one in. Number 2, The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. This is a vanilla game, and it's one that I have not played casually. I mean, casually is the only way that I've played it, but it's one that I have not played in years. I don't remember the last time I played it, so I wanted to throw this on the list to have something completely different in place that I was really looking forward to. And apparently a lot of other people were too. With 7 votes, we've got games number 3 and 4. Super Mario World Rando, honestly, even more standard and more basic than the SMB3. Not much to say here. And Link's Awakening DX Rando. Not one that I play very often. It's actually been a very, very long time. But it's still a fun game. Link's Awakening is one of my favorite Zelda titles. So I'm looking forward to that. Moving on, the games that received 6 votes each, we have the Donkey Kong Country Rando, which is just an absolute physics madhouse. Mega Man X Rando, which is also just an absolute physics madhouse. Monopoly makes it back in, so get ready to press B for some hotels. It crashed during the last shuffler, which was unfortunate. It's just goofy fun, I like it. Bomberman 64 makes it in. And it's another game that I haven't played casually in a very, very long time. Looking forward to it. It's just a fun game. Paper Mario Rando is going to come back in. I haven't played one of these in a long time. There's a lot. You're noticing a trend here. There's a lot here that I haven't played in quite some time. Star Fox 64 Rando. Pretty standard for me lately. Ton of fun. A lot of fun tech stuff. And, of course, we get a Zooter. And the game's receiving 5 votes to cap off our initial list. We got an SMRPG Rando. Thanks for noticing that played. I spent like an hour just on that animation. I'm not good at these slideshow things. Super Metroid Rando. For this, I'm going to do the map Rando. It's something that I've heard of for a while now and haven't actually played. So I decided that's the variant of Super Metroid Rando I want to try out. Kirby's Adventure Rando, not much to comment down there. There's not really a whole lot to the Rando, but it's still fun. Majora's Mask Rando comes in at number 15. And then, when I was coming up with the order of the games, it just so happened that what's going to show up as our bonus, number 16, was just past the cut. Like, that's just where I happened to make it on the list. But it still received 5 votes, just like these games. And so there is a little bit of personal bias on this one to bring it in. So the game coming on in, instead of getting the boot, to give us the 16th game, is going to be Golden Sun. I don't know exactly how the rando's going to go for it. I've never played its randomizer. So not totally sure. We're gonna have to just find out as we go. So next, of course, we've got these write-in games from people that had been suggested, and I haven't spun these yet, so there's no pre-rendered slide for this at all. I need to actually do it. So we're gonna run this live real quick, see what we're gonna get. I'm only gonna throw 5 of these games in for the moment, and the rest are gonna go on the wheel. So, first game selected, and this is an interesting combination of games I'm familiar with and games that I've never heard of and games I've never played. This would be an example of the latter two. Didn't know this game existed, don't know what it is. And that was written in by Firebird Lover, so thank you for that. The next game in appears to be Super Bomberman 2. This one was suggested by Willard. He had also written in Mario was missing, and I told him no. So... GoldenEye 007 makes a return. I played this casually for the first time, believe that or not, last summer. This one was suggested by Post Poetic. Thank you, Post. And we've got 2 more of these coming in initially. And I mean, this is one of those where I do reserve the right to remove games after a fair attempt. Notch brought this one in. And he knew exactly what he was doing. Final game for the initial write-ins. Is that going to make it to Mega Man 5? I don't think so. Fire Emblem 7, written in by Lachlan. So the rest of these are going to go onto the wheel. I'm going to duplicate them so that they've got a higher chance of coming in. Thanks to everyone that did write in games. I do appreciate it. And finally, thanks for watching this teeny tiny, almost 12-minute presentation. We're going to start this next Thursday, the 28th, early to mid-evening my time, or if I happen to wake up earlier in the day, then I guess whenever I wake up and get situated, basically, but probably early to mid-evening. That's my first day off for next weekend, and I've got a car appointment right after work. So I'm probably not going to be home until like 10 or 10:30 and not asleep before then. So, hey, thanks for watching this. Hope you're looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be great. I got nothing else to say about it. If there's any questions, of course, yell at me, ping me somewhere. I'll have an official Google Doc detailing the ins and outs of this that will always be available through a command, and we're gonna have a good time. So see you next Thursday night for it.